Okay, thank you again. Good evening to everyone that's here. Thank you for everyone that got here on time. And we are about to get started. And so,
Sorry, hold on one sec.
yes.
John, are we okay? Romero, I'm sorry, new face. Okay, you're good to go.
Okay,
Yeah, they're good to go. So I think we can get started.
great. So it's recording. Thank you all again for being here. Yes, he said he's good to go. So the first item on the agenda is regarding our November meeting. The holidays are coming up. And our meeting for November would have fell on Thanksgiving. And so for next month, our general board meeting will be November 17th, 7 p.m. We still are on, actually, George, it'll still be virtual, right? Because it'll be the 30
Yes.
days. Okay. So
I'm
as of
good. Thank you.
now, our meeting for November, our general board meeting will be virtual, but if
Oh,
anything
happy
changes,
birthday.
of course, we will let people know. And I just wanted to touch base on the virtual versus in person. As always, it is an issue for us as now we are at 14 members. If everybody can mute themselves, that would be great. The issue that we're facing is that at times we're not meeting our quorum. And so it's posing a
Yeah, I
problem.
don't. What's the address on 233rd?
Hold on. George, I'm gonna mute you for a quick second.
Hold on one sec. Hold on.
And so I just want everybody to keep in mind that it is important for everybody to attend on time, whether we're meeting in person or we're doing it virtually. And so we are urging you all to just keep that in mind. And so as of now, we are going to be virtual this month and next month through the 22nd. If anything changes after that, we will let you know. Any questions about that? Okay. So now we're going to move into our public gallery session. I know Miss Rose Williams, you wanted to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. My name is Rose Williams, formerly we just recently retired at NCNW Child Development Center, which I'm very proud. But I'm here to really commend the community board, and particularly Mr. George Torres and Ms. Green. As you all have noticed, on 228th Street, White Plains Road, we have now a light. Long overdue. And when I was working on White Plains Road, it took me 3 minutes just to cross to get on the other side because of two bus lanes, two buses from different direction, mopeds, people making illegal turns, no one not stopping. But it is beautiful. When I went down the street the other day, 228th Street, the light turned red. People obeyed the sign, the car stopped. And when the light turned green, it was very, very easy just to turn right or left without any confusion, without any person being hit. I want to thank Mr. Torres. I know he's on the phone, but when he gets off the phone, please tell him with his diligent work in the DOT and also Miss Green, we now have a traffic light, well needed, well deserved for a long time. The community board is an active board that works for the community. I'm very happy, and the people and the residents of Williamsbridge are very happy for this. Thank you very much, and we want you to know that we appreciate you and keep up the good work. Thank you. Rose Williams.
Thank you, George and Ursula, for that. Thank you, Ms. Williams. We always love to hear that. Anyone else that would like to speak? We go to the chat.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Vernice Riley.
Bernice.
Hi, how are you? I'm a own.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. This is my first time enter into your meeting. I'm not sure how you guys run your meeting, but I'm a homeowner here in the Bronx for over 10 years. and there's a couple of issues that we have in the community. I have contacted a couple of officials. I've contacted Kevin Riley. Contacted the borough president office. I contact everybody you could think of, and I'm not saying that they didn't answer my questions, but they didn't really answer my questions. So I don't know if I could bring my issues to the board meeting to see what it is that you guys could assist with in terms of some issues we're having. There's a lot of illegal trucks that's parking up in our community. And the law said that after a certain hours, no commercial vehicles supposed to be parking in our residential neighborhood. And it is just overwhelming.
Yes, we do know that that is an issue. Do you have exact locations?
I have exact locations. I have pictures. I mean, I went to the 47 precinct. I went to the 59 precinct. I went everywhere. And I also spoke to the someone in the borough president office, Vanessa. She said I should take pictures of the block, but taking pictures, and by the time I get in touch with them and send them the pictures and the video, those trucks were probably already gone already. So I don't think that is really my job to be going around taking pictures and sending videos and all that kind of stuff. We need the people that's supposed to come out at night to ticket them.
Right.
So the problem that I'm hearing, I'm just telling you what police officers are telling me, the trucks that are parked around parks don't have a sign that says that no trucks cannot park there. So trucks will literally park there 24 hours and don't move. Like for instance, Potona Park, where I work at Bronx, Lebanon, I'm a nurse, I can't get no parking. So because of that, I have to catch a train to work, catch a bus to come home, because I can't find no parking, because these trucks are parking around the parking lots, and not the parking lots, around the parks, and around the parks don't say that no trucks cannot park there.
No, we absolutely hear that. That has been an issue. I know that a lot of our elected officials and even within our community board, we have been addressing that. Our district manager, Mr. George Torres, just put his email address on the chat. Would you be able to email him the information, exact location, so that we can address it on our end?
Yes, you could definitely give me his information. That's number
Yes,
one.
if you
Number
look at
two,
our chat, yes,
Yeah.
what's number 2?
Number two is what they do now. These truckers, they got so smart, they would take off the back part of their trucks, leave it one place, and then park the front part of their truck somewhere else, so you can't catch them. And then when the back tail of the truck is parked in our community, there is no license plate, no license plate on it. So even if you call someone to ticket them, what are you ticketing? And from what I understood, they don't have anybody to move the trucks anywhere. There's no place for the truck to be moved to. And it's just an ongoing thing, and it's annoying. That's number one. Number two, these moped bikes. These moped bikes that's going in and out of our community with people riding these bikes with no helmet. What is going on? Because
Ms. Vernice,
yes.
can you hear me? You cut up a bit. Can you start that over?
I was speaking about, could you hear me?
Now I can. It was just cutting up a bit before.
Okay. All right.
No, have George
You have
speak
issues.
now. What his address? What the? Come on in.
Yeah.
Hear the man.
What are they doing about these people that riding around with moped bikes without no helmet? Kids are riding moped bikes without no helmet. Children are on these bikes with no helmets. I mean, what's the plan here? Because they're not following the law, they're not following the rules. They're riding these bikes on our sidewalks. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, I'm not too familiar with what the policy or rules and regulations are with the mopeds, but that's something that we can look into as well. So again, if you can just send us all of your complaints and exact locations for the trucks, then we can discuss it with George and Ursula and then take it from there.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Thank you for bringing it to the board,
All
Ms.
right.
Vernice. We hope to see you more often. And George, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just if Vernice is done, are you done, Miss Vernice?
No, I'm staying on. I want to hear what's going on.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, you're done questioning.
I mean,
don't
I
have
got
any more
a
questions?
couple more things. Yeah.
Well, all right. So we're joined. We have the New York City Controller is on with us, Brad Lander. So I just wanted to give him an opportunity to speak, and then we'll resume public gallery if that's okay.
Absolutely. Welcome.
We can't hear you, sir.
Sorry about that. Thank you for I couldn't even. Thank you to Beatrice and George. Thank you especially to you. Hello, Community Board 12. It is great to be with you virtually. I'm Brad Lander. I'm your New York City Comptroller. Got to meet a couple of you when we did a town hall district. Finally, make sure that I get a chance to come around the city and meet people, but especially because working on something that really affects the people and especially the homeowners of Community Board 12, and that is the topic of property tax reform with town hall and back. And you guys, you know, the owners, you know that homeowners are of the most unfairly overtaxed homeowners in your city is on average about 3 times what it is for me and my neighbors in Brooklyn, and that is just not right. I looked up the data, I asked my team to get it, and we have it by council district rather than by community district. If you look at district of 21 districts, you've got the 8th highest median effective tax rate, council district 12, the 5th highest, and council district 13, the 4th highest. And you know, there's something really wrong. First, what it should just be is everyone across the city pays the same effective tax rate. So, you know, what your home is worth, everyone pays the same percentage. But what is sure wrong is that it is working communities of color that are much more likely to have effective tax rates that are 2, 3, even 4 times higher than a lot of Manhattan or Brownstone, Brooklyn. This is a system that was created 40 years ago. And what has happened over time is that exemptions and caps and arbitrary rules have made it a deeply unfair system, again, where homeowners, you know, obviously if you should just be the case that if you are a co-op or a worth, everybody pays the same percentage, but we don't have it that way, and we should. Unfortunately, it has become a real third rail political issue where elected officials both in Albany and in City Hall don't believe we could get it done because, of course, what it means for you guys to be taxed more fairly is that my neighbors and I have to pay something a little closer to our fair share. But that was why I thought it was important that I step up and take the leader. I'm the comptroller of the city. We're looking at the tax receipts. We're looking at who's paying what. And if we really believe that we want an equitable city, it can't be homeowners in the Bronx. It can't be working class communities. It can't be homeowners of color that are bearing burden. So we are making a big push this fall, along with your Kimberly and some other folks. We are trying hard to have our voices heard. Now, one challenge.
You're saying some amazing things, but you're freezing up. So we're like missing a lot of what you're saying, Comptroller. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? We have a bad
I really
connection.
don't like WebEx. Is it better if I stop my video? Does it work better? Does it make any difference? Stop my video? Can you hear me any better?
I can. Yeah, we can definitely hear you better now, but we missed a lot of the important information that you were giving us.
Briefly, first, I apologize. Hear me now, okay?
You're still coming in and out, but try again.
Can you hear me now? All right. Looks like now or not now. Now it doesn't look like you can again.
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. You know, I'm going to my phone. I really apologize.
Do you want to hang up and try again and dial back in?
That real quick. I will be back.
Okay. Come right back, right? Okay, in the meantime, do we have anyone else from the public gallery that would like to speak?
Yes.
I believe we had, yes?
Yes, Tony B has her hand up.
Okay.
Oh.
Hi, Tony. Welcome. Tony?
first
Okay.
lady. She never finished.
Hello?
Okay, we'll come back. Tony, we're gonna come right back to you. Give us a minute.
Okay, but now you can hear me, right?
Yes, we'll come right back to you.
No
Thank you.
problem.
All right. I apologize. Can you hear me and see me now?
I can absolutely hear you, but your camera is off.
Oh, really? It looked like it was
I
on.
see him.
No,
there.
he's on.
Do?
He's
Yeah,
on.
he's on.
He's on.
Ah, the joys of our remote world. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Those of you that can see me, great. Those of you that can't see me, for me, it's probably better. So, anyway, Community Board 12, it is great to be with you. What I was saying before is that together with your council member, Kevin Riley, and some other council members and elected officials around the city, I'm spending a lot of time this fall fighting for property tax reform. That is something I know a lot of you have cared about for a long time, and rightly so, because homeowners in Community Board 12 on average are taxed 3 times the effective tax rate as homeowners in neighborhoods like mine in Brooklyn or neighborhoods in Manhattan. We have a property tax system that was essentially established 40 years ago. And for a range of reasons, for some exemptions, for some caps, as property values went up in parts of Manhattan and Brooklyn, tax rates on increasingly expensive homes were kept down. And what that meant is in some neighborhoods where values did not rise as quickly, your taxes increased essentially to offset what happened. And that means that in working class neighborhoods and communities of color, homeowners are unfairly overtaxed. Again, 2, 3, even 4 times the effective tax rate in the North Bronx, in Southeast Queens, on Staten Island, that homeowners in Brownstone, Brooklyn, or Western Queens or Manhattan pay, and it is entirely unfair. It hasn't been changed, partly because it's viewed as a political third rail, because to just be totally straightforward, for you to be taxed more fairly, my neighbors and I in Brooklyn have to pay something closer to our fair share. And obviously that's not a thing that every elected official wants to speak up and say, but I thought it was important that as comptroller, watching the tax receipts come in, if we really care about an equitable city, we have to speak up on this issue. It's also a challenging issue because it requires change in Albany and at City Hall. Even though it's the city's property tax system, essentially the rules are set by state legislation. Now, at the very end of the prior administration, I think December 27th, 2021, a commission, the Commission on Property Tax Reform, issued a set of proposals that would have something much more fair, where basically every owner in the city, regardless of whether a home, a co-op, a condo, would pay the same effective tax rate. And so if your home is worth more, we'll just say for a minute, let's say it would be 1%. If your home was worth $100,000, you would pay $1,000. And if your home was worth $1 million, you would pay $10,000. I'm not saying the rate will be 1% automatically, but everyone would pay the same fair effective tax rate. And that would reduce the burden on folks in homeowners in Community Board 12 and other unfairly overtaxed districts. So I'm speaking up loud on it because I think it's important. We've developed a set of proposals that will address this issue. We're building a great coalition. And like I say, your council member, Kevin Riley, did a dynamite video that hopefully Greer Mayhew, who's our Bronx director, can drop in the link so you can see it because it's a really good video about the problem. And we've got a petition online that we'd love for people to sign. And we're going to be working through this fall and then into the next session in Albany to try to persuade the governor, to try to persuade the mayor, and to work with the legislature to get the votes we need so that we could reform this system and bring property tax fairness to New York City. So we're working on a lot of other things in the controller's office. It's 10 years after Superstorm Sandy. We're working on some of our recovery and resilience infrastructure, trying to get our capital projects built more on time. But the big push for this fall and into the next session is to reform New York City's property tax system to make it fair. And just wanted to come on and let you know that if folks have questions, I'm glad to answer them. But it's a big push and we're going to need all the support we can.
There was a question from Esther Morrison in the chat. Your staff, Greer, did answer that. And Cynthia just posted the commission's report that Controller Lander reference is available here. So the link is there as well. I don't know if there's any questions. We did have a question from Tony, and there's a question, the hands raised from Javad. I don't know if it's related to this or just our public gallery session.
I just
have
have
a
a quick question on the petition link. If you can make sure you add that there so that we can pass it on as well, that would be great.
Great. Hopefully, Greer, I'm now on my phone, so it's hard for me to do from here. But hopefully, Greer. First of all, I hope folks here know Greer Mayhew, who's our wonderful Bronx director. We've got a lot of other Bronxites in office. A lot of you know Kadeem Niang or Anderson Ortiz, longtime Bronx residents who are leaders in the controller's office. And yeah, hopefully Greer can drop it. And if not, we'll get it to you and you can circulate it by email.
I think Cynthia may have just put it there. Thank you.
I think a board member had a question. Was that you, Ted, who said you had a question, or John? Going once, going twice? Nothing? All right. Tony, is your question related to the control statement? Tony B?
There's a question in the chat, George.
Oh. Did they just post it?
Yeah, from Esther Morrison.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I was talking about earlier. Esther had put in a question. Greer Mayhew responded with a response.
Okay.
And Cynthia Prisco from Councilmember Riley's office also posted the tax reform information, I believe.
I think
And Esther responded too. She said, thank you.
Tony B has their hands up.
Quick
Yeah.
question before we get back to that. I do need all board members to be on camera. We've mentioned it before. All board members, you have to be on camera in order for even for us to have a quorum. Thank you. Okay.
Because I don't have a computer, so you only got me on a phone.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have a question. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Tony.
Hi, this is Tony. I don't have a question about real estate taxes because they've been absurd for years. I've never done anything to my home and it has gone up, but that's not the issue that I'm going to speak on. I just want to make sure that the board is on top of what's happening with the Baychester Motel that is now a beautiful gold and black.
All right, I respect all the issues people are gonna bring to the meeting that the controller's office is not gonna be able to help with. So I want you to know you guys have a friend in the controller's office. Reach out to Greer for questions about finance issues, budget issues, pension issues, claims issues, contract issues. We're working hard to make city government work just a little bit better every day and provide real transparency about our city government. Thank you for all the work you guys do as community board members. I know it's a lot of work for your neighbors, and we really, really appreciate it. Hope everybody have a good
Thank you
night.
for being here. We appreciate you.
Take good
Thank you.
Okay, Tony, the floor is yours.
Yeah, like I said, the Baychester Motel has undergone some external renovations. I don't know if any internal renovations have been done, but right now the outside is black and orange. I know it's Halloween time, but I don't think that's the reason why it's black and orange. And so far, no one seems to have had any information as to what's going on there or what they're doing or if they're doing anything. And our concern is we didn't like it there to begin with, but it wasn't that bad when they had it as a homeless shelter for mothers and children. We just don't want it to become a brothel. So we're trying to keep an eye on it. Now, when this was put up way, way back in, forget, it doesn't matter. But Carmen and whoever was in charge of the 47th at the time, we all had met with the owners then, and they had somewhat promised not to become a pay-by-the-hour brothel, which is why they turned it into a homeless shelter. These are brand new owners who just bought it from the Baychester Motel folks. So we don't know what they're going to do. So whoever can find out, I would like them to find out and let us know before we find out that there's something going on that we don't care for. That's it for me. Well, the trucks have been going on for years. I don't remember the lady's name, but she was mentioning the trucks.
Yes.
Yeah, I have been here 47 years, and that's how long I've been talking about the trucks. So she's just getting started.
Right. Thank you for that. George, do we have any information on the Baychester Motel?
He's smiling.
Well, no, Tony and I spoke. Tony and I
Okay.
speak often.
Yeah.
I told her that, as we get more information, Tony, I forget if it was in one of the real estate newspapers that they sold the property recently.
I saw it for 5.5 million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I read the same
5.5
thing.
million. As the board knows, I don't know if I shared this with you, Tony. They moved the Women with Children shelter was shut and closed. That was part of Vincent Hartshare. They closed the two facilities in our district, Needham Avenue and 222nd Street, because of disrepair. And basically that's how we got Tilden Street. If you recall the conversations we had around that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I
councilman's
remember.
office, the councilman's office also had heard, and he said at that meeting that we had about Tilden Street that he was concerned, and the same concerns that you expressed, Tony, about that turning back into a shelter. When I read this article, I forwarded it to the Department of Homeless Services. They have no designs. There have been I saw the painting. I saw them when they were priming it first, when they painted it white. That's on my way home, so I'm frequently seeing it. We don't know. They haven't filed any jobs with the buildings department. So, and basically that's how we come to find things out. The building was purchased. That will eventually make its way into the Department of Finance records, so we'll know who owns it. It was purchased by an LLC, so there's not a lot of reporting requirements on LLCs. It's usually the address. You don't have to put a principal, a name. So
Right.
we'll find out as we find information out. We will certainly let folks know. But right now, DHS has no designs for it. But as Tony stated, that these are things that we have to be vigilant about. I know there's other people on this that want to speak that will talk about other things that we will have to remain vigilant about, because we don't know what the city's intentions are when it comes to homeless shelters. So,
Well, my concern is this: if nothing has been filed pertaining to the renovation of the inside, that means they're going to leave those 35 rooms, which will make it another motel or shelter. See, we had walked down. They had paperwork on the fence, but somehow or another the paperwork has disappeared. The permit work, that's gone. So we don't know. As far as we know, there's no work being done on the inside of the motel. So there's still 35 rooms available. Okay. When you guys get information, pass it along.
Hello?
Will. Thank you, Tony.
yes.
And George will definitely keep us posted as we get more information.
Hello, can I be heard? I'm on my cell phone.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
This is Diane Mayans. I was not able to get on your website. The information I was sent, it said caution that it may not be originated from some outside organization. So I'm calling you on my cell phone. And good evening, everyone. And I've just been listening to everything. And I'm calling. I've been living on Teenan Avenue in the Bronx for the past 35 years. And we just found out this past weekend that a Mona development under a Ron Caro is building a 34-unit, 4-story housing development at the end of our block on Teenan Avenue. It's between Teenan and Gunther, the dead end part. We were never notified about this building being constructed. That area down there is a holding spot for illegal cars, ghost cars, We have a bad sewage problem on our block. We've had it for the past 45 years because these pipes have never been changed or fixed. And now you're introducing a 4-story unit that's going to put more pressure on our sewage. And we would like to meet with Mr. Torres, the community board manager. We also would like to meet with Assemblyman Councilman Riley, to have some kind of a meeting. We have already set up a neighborhood, we call ourselves the Teenan Avenue Homeowners and Renters Association, and we would like to set up a meeting to talk about this development being built in our neighborhood at some point. And it's not only affecting us, it's also going to be affecting Gunther Avenue. So someone needs to come over here, and you see the cars are lined up. A woman spoke earlier about the trucks. The trucks, they park along Hammersley Avenue. They're there all day, and then they come in at night because we have constant noise, and they pick up those trucks, and those cars. I don't know where they're taking them, and then the next day a whole nother set of cars. That has been a parking lot. And Mona Development has to understand something. This land, you may not be old enough to remember, this was all a dumping ground for garbage years ago. Co-op City was Freedom Land. Once Freedom Land went away, they built Co-op City. This area over here is swamp land, and you really cannot build back there because of the sewage problem. So they're going to put that unit there, and there's going to be a sewage problem, which is going to affect all of us on this block. So this is a major, major concern.
Did we speak over the phone this week?
No, you didn't speak to me. You spoke to another member of our organization. We
Okay.
just put ourselves together since we found this information out. You did not speak to me. You did speak to another member.
Okay, yeah, somebody called me this week, and I had a conversation. I was, oddly enough, I was over there the same day that the constituent called me. I took pictures of the construction site. That's actually so. There's been some back and forth. As Luke Sabados is one of my board members, to answer his question, this is an as-of-right development. And what that means is this property was purchased, and they're developing it within the zoning. This is also, and I mentioned Luke because we're actually going to have a conversation later on about Burke Avenue and whether we want to turn that into a street or turn that into a parkland. And the interesting thing is that this, so I went over there. That's the reason I was over there, was to take pictures. So from Gunther Avenue, Tiemann, and Kingsland, right? Is that right? Yeah, I think it's Kingsland is the top block.
Yes.
That's where the 5 train runs underground.
Yes.
So it cuts across. And there is there's retaining walls obviously on either side of that. And this is at the end of the block. So one of the questions that I was trying to ask myself and I was going to raise this evening was, what do we do with Burke Avenue? You mentioned the issue of flooding. Building that street out, the rest of that street, because it is a dead end over there, requires the installation of sewers and building a curb and building a sidewalk and building out half of Burke Avenue, which would be and mitigate many of the issues that you talk about with ponding and flooding and stuff like that for that area. From what I can tell, when I spoke to the other constituent, they had raised the issue of parking. This is a 34-unit building, if I'm not mistaken, and they have 30 parking spaces. It is as of right. They didn't need to come to the community board. And as I told the other constituent, I don't know what the plans are going forward. I mean, if, we are very experienced now as a community board because we had something that happened on Tilden Avenue that was being developed as a normal housing that eventually got turned into a shelter. I cannot guarantee that this is not going to happen there. I don't know what is going to happen because the mayor's office and specifically the Department of Homeless Services doesn't share their strategy with us as a community board or with anybody. They just arbitrarily open up these sites and then they tell you that, this is their right to do. And, we can't, I shouldn't say that we can't fight it, but there really isn't any means to fight it because again, this is an as of right development. There is a rendering of the building on the construction fence. It is very similar to current construction. As you stated, is a 4-story apartment building, but it looks like it's being designed as sort of, or at least to give the appearance of the related row houses that are there. So,
Unmute yourself.
yeah, somebody's having a conversation.
You gotta mute yourself.
Okay.
I did Google and I did get some information that the height of that,
Somebody gotta mute themselves.
the height of that house cannot be over the height of the existing row houses. But how they're getting away with it is because if you notice, you have to go down the hill to get to that property. So they dug down almost like 20 feet because I was over there earlier. So they're going to, in terms of guidelines, they are going to be at the height of the other row houses. It's still a 4-story construction, but that's how they're getting away with that part of it. I never heard of this term as of right.
Yeah, I mean, you're a homeowner, so you bought your house. And if you wanted to file a job with the Department of Buildings to do something, add another floor, if it fit within the zoning rights, you were perfectly permissible to do that. That's what as of right development is. The zoning is set for the city of New York. It's only, for example, we're a community board. We're going to have a conversation about a ULURP that comes up. I encourage you to stay on for that. It's only when we have ULURPs where they're asking us to change the zoning of a particular neighborhood or particular property where we can be more influential, even though our role as community board members is advisory in the ULURP process. But we do have the ability to sort of weigh in and say, hey, this is what we would prefer to see. But in this situation, again, this was a private property. It was purchased. They're not using city funding. And, they're just developing it again. And it's according to the zoning. Now, when I spoke to the other constituent, and I do apologize, I don't have my handbook in front of me, the zoning handbook. I don't know if you live in an R5 or if you live in an R4, which is what determines what can be built. And there's my email is there, so I welcome you to email me, and just we can have a conversation offline. Like I don't want to, dominate the conversation on this, but we can have a conversation about what's permissible. And then, as I was telling the other constituent, Burke Avenue cuts in between that last private house and this property. So, one of the things that we could ask for, and again, we're going to have a conversation about Burke and Gunther in a few minutes. If we want to extend maybe creating that as a parkland, or again, we had some constituents call and say that they wanted to turn that into a street so that Tiemann wasn't a dead end that you could actually turn down on what would be Burke. So again, there is a 30-foot gap between the private house that's there and this property. 3220 is the address, Tiemann Avenue. There's going to be a street there, or supposed to be a street. That should be Burke Avenue.
Okay, one more question. I don't want to tie up. You mentioned that the sewage problem would be taken care of. Is that coming from the city, or is Mona Development going to make sure that Tiemann Avenue's pipes are fixed?
No. So any developer that develops has to tie into the city sewer line. And if the city sewer line doesn't extend to the end of the block, they have to run an extension to the end of the block. So they're not going to, like, for example, if that last house didn't have a tie into the sewer, it should, because whoever developed that private house should have done that, whenever they built that private house. But these folks would do that. And one of the considerations when we talk about ponding and flooding and, how things get to sewers, a lot of stuff happens because a lot of our streets and sidewalks are in disrepair and they don't funnel the way they're supposed to. Streets are not pitched the right way so that the water makes its way to the lowest level. As a developer, they would have to build out their sidewalk and half the street. So again, Burke Avenue right now exists as a forest. It's basically just green trees and stuff like that. If they develop this property, they have to file an Alt 3, which is a builder's pavement plan for the sidewalk and for the street. They also have to do in the tie-ins to the sewers, to the existing sewer. And if there is no existing sewer, they have to create it all the way to their property.
May I interrupt? Hello? My name is Cherie Braxton. I also live on Teeman Avenue. I'm already in this neighborhood. When it's heavy rains, I have bags around my garage door and my basement door because the sewer system cannot hold the water that's coming down. So when they put up this new structure, you're talking about 34 units. But you have to multiply that by 3 because nobody's coming in there single. They're coming with their families. If all of that water and waste is coming through the same pipes that are over 45 years old, and when I call Roto-Rooter, they say they have cracks in them already. So this new water that's going to go through it is going to flood, either overflow our houses or the water's got to go somewhere. If these pipes break, we need a whole new system. We're not saying we don't want them to come, but if they're going to come, we need a new system. We live on that block and we're having enough problem as it is with the water overflowing. So with all of these new families coming and they're going to use water and they're going to flush their toilets, we're going to have overflow because they're going to be higher up and then the water is going to flow down and it's going to settle where we are. We're at the beginning of the block. So this is why we wanted to meet with you, Mr. Torres, because we're talking about a serious problem. They started working on our neighborhoods and they stopped at Kingsland Avenue. No one came down the hill. So our waistline is old and decrepit and it can't handle a lot of water. And that's why we need some help out here. We're not saying that we're against people coming, but if they're going to come, they need to come and talk to us and help us fix our street first and our sewer lines before you allow other people to come, because I sure don't want somebody else's waste coming in my basement every other day because we don't have proper waste lines.
Well, I have no objection to meeting with anybody. That's perfectly fine. I just want you to know that, again, we're a community board. We are not the developer. This is an as-of-right development, meaning that if they don't want to come to a meeting, they don't have to. It's as simple as that. We live in a society where if you buy the property, zoning, like I said, is pre-existing. They can build whatever they want. The concern becomes for us is, like I said, what happened with Tilton. But again, I don't want to dominate. We can have a meeting. I will try to be as helpful as possible, but this is an as-of-right development. To address your issue with the sewers, my understanding, I used to work in the buildings department more than 7 years ago. Every time you have filings, those things are considered. They have to file a job with the Department of Environmental Protection, which does the sewer lines for the city of New York. If it's ill-fitting or all those issues are addressed. So you may be right. Like it may require a capital investment to redo the sewer lines because it's not adequate. But from my understanding is that they're not going to let them file an inadequate sewer from or a line from their project to or from their development to the street.
Yeah.
Cherie, I'm Beatrice, the chair of the board, and everything you're saying resonates. I'm actually a homeowner in this district as well. We've had these conversations here before, so we don't want you to think is that we're negating anything you're saying. We completely agree. But as a board, sometimes we're limited in what we can do. The beauty is that we do have staffers of our elected officials on these calls. And so when they hear these complaints and they can bring it back to them so that they can be the ones that can create some sort of change for us. I see Council Member Dinowitz, you have your hand up.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure you know that we don't just have staffers on, but sometimes the elected officials are ourselves that we join these meetings and we hear directly from you. But of course, when we don't, our staffers directly tell us everything that's said at the meetings.
Would you like to address her concern?
Really?
Sure. No, it's a real concern, but I think that George addressed it pretty accurately, which is the description of as of right properties and Euler properties. Some of the bills. So you spoke. Because I just jumped on, but it sounded like you were talking about water consumption of these of the buildings. Is that right? So a lot of the bills I've sponsored deal with environmental issues. In fact, today, one of the bills I sponsored, a Greenway master plan, deals with just that, having a master plan for the entire city of green space and green infrastructure, and also like bicycle routes, like suggested bicycle routes for alternative modes of transportation. But the importance of green infrastructure is that it isn't always the consumption of water in a home. It's the consumption of water in a home plus if it rains, because we have what we call a combined sewer system in many parts in the city, where the sewer will overflow because the rain combines with the wastewater in our home. And so with green infrastructure, if we can reduce the impact of things like rain events, then that will help with that. And so those are some of the bills that seek to reduce greenhouse gases, with sort of a long-term, larger picture thing.
I do.
And I don't know if you wanted me to address like the rest of the board about some of the other, just like two other issues that aren't related to this. Up to you, Madam Chair.
Yes, please go ahead.
So just two other things that I Wakefield related. One is, I think last time I addressed the board, we were dealing with redistricting. The first preliminary maps, which came out a few months ago, Wakefield was drawn out of my district, District 11. We held a number of education events, both in District 11 and Bronx-wide events. I co-chaired the Bronx delegation, and the Bronx-wide event, I think we had it translated to 7 different languages. And, we had it on Zoom, on Facebook, on television, on YouTube. Dozens of people, of you from Wakefield wrote into the commission and said, we want 11. And so when they came back with new maps, they voted them down, and they came up with another set of new maps. These new maps have District 11, my district, having a little more of Wakefield than it currently does, including the border. So if these maps have predicted it will, you will. You who have me and who currently District 12 will now be in my district, in District 11, which I'm looking forward to hopefully representing you. The lines have to pass, and so
You froze a bit.
Update you on asylum seeker shelter. Am I getting cut off? Do you still hear me?
We hear you now.
Okay. Sorry about that. then I called schools to inform the local elementary schools that it's a family shelter, and they're very likely going to be getting children, asylum seeker shelter children. Now we had done, we're very lucky because we had just done a back to school celebration where the kids got backpacks, some of the kids got t-shirts, clothing, all sorts of things, and the school had leftover. So one, the children had backpacks, going to school, they had backpacks. But more importantly, when I heard that the school was not getting the resources it needed to address the increased number of students with most of them didn't speak English, I called the principals together with the Department of Education and Department of Social Services. Long story short, that meeting happened on a Friday, and the next school day was a Wednesday. By next Wednesday, the school had the funding for another teacher, another ESL teacher to address the students' needs. The students at the shelter had their own bus stop, and what I think is very cool is the school system changed the ways and the rules regarding food distribution, so they can now distribute food to food pantries to help feed, the asylum seekers, but also the larger community, people in need of food. And this model was so successful that just last week, I think we had a press conference with the chancellor of the schools and other local elected officials. And to be clear, this type of work of reaching out to schools, of making sure when there's a need that we get to the city agencies and we make sure that the schools get the resources they need. It happened in collaboration with all of our elected officials, with my colleague, Councilmember Riley, with Borough President Gibson, with Assemblyman Dinowitz, with Assembly Speaker Hasty, and with Senator Bailey. And so we all work together very well to make sure our local schools get what they need, and especially when our community is hit with an influx of people with very high needs, that we work together to make sure they get what they need. So those were just two things I wanted to update you on, and just a piece of the work I'm doing. But I assure you all I'm working very hard in the council, especially for Wakefield and Woodlawn, which is Community Board 12.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had some hands up before.
Yes, I want to get back to that.
Yeah, Javad had his hand. I also want to make sure we're okay with the lady that I was talking to, the constituent that I was talking to about on Tiemann Avenue. My contact information is in the chat. You can scroll up and down to see, and you can email me directly. I'll have any meeting going directly. Go ahead.
That was Sherry.
Very much, Mr. Torres. So I'll get back to you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right, Javad.
Hi, my name is it's Javid actually. I'm a member of Community Board. I'm a constituent of Community Board 12. I've lived here for around 23 years, born and raised here. I actually spoke to Ursula Green about one of the issues that I had in the community, and then not just me, but many members of the community on East 241st Street on the corner of Furman Avenue. There's a large broken sidewalk that's obstructed with trees from one of the neighboring buildings or properties, and it actually blocks the sidewalk in a way where members of the community can't pass through that sidewalk and have to end up walking on the road to get to the bus, which is the 28 bus and the 2 train right there on 241st Street. So many members of the community have to end up walking on the road, and if they do decide to try to walk on that sidewalk, they're going to get hit in the face with branches. They're going to be ending up stepping on mud when it rains very heavily because of the piece of the sidewalk that is all entirely dirt and filled with stones. I spoke to Ursula Green about this, and she laid out a report, and I believe she cited the property. Like she sent out a report to the precinct to cite the property, and I did notice that there was some improvements in the area, so I do commend her on that. But I still see that there is a lot, and it's foliage, it's trees, they grow over time. So within the few weeks that that owner or that property owner had taken it away, the trees had already grown into the sidewalk. The branches have grown farther, and the dirt and stone on that sidewalk was still broken. So there's many members of the community, especially elderly members, that have to take the train and the bus to their jobs, that have complained about it, especially even members of my own family who are elderly and take those public transportation. So I just wanted to make sure that we are working on getting that property owner to remove the branches and stop the obstruction of that sidewalk.
Okay. Urs, you want to speak on that?
Hey, sorry.
Hi.
Yes. So there's two issues over there. There's the sidewalk that is broken up. Holly finally gave me a tracking number. So they haven't even inspected it yet. So I'm waiting on them to get back to me. But I'll keep following up with a tracking number. And I'll have to send sanitation enforcement back over there to give them a ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, so yeah, I thank you actually for making that connection, because we did get a letter from DOT, from the commissioner's office, with the tracking number for that, and I was like, "What is this all about?" And then this is what it's
Remember
about.
it,
All right.
George,
Yeah.
remember it's the video. Remember the
Yeah.
video.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Yeah. Now I remember. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we have a tracking number, and that's always the first step. So they'll do their investigation and everything. All right. So thank you, Urs.
Thank you. Thank you, Javad.
Thank you. It's no problem. And it's Javed. Sorry about that.
Javed, apologies.
Sorry.
We're going to get it right.
No worries.
I see some other hands up. Ayad.
Yes, hi, this is Ayad. I'm a new constituent to Community Board 12. Hi, George. Thank you for what you do, really. And I think just echoing to or following up on what Councilmember Dinwitz with regards to ENL teachers, to meet the needs of ENL students, or those students, newcomers like my brother who came here. My younger brother goes to PS 78. I was very disappointed and surprised that to hear that the PS 78 doesn't have after school programs, because there's a lack of funding, and they received cut funds this year, and they don't have after school programs. So I was on the phone yesterday with Kevin Riley, Councilmember Kevin Riley, and we want to make sure, because I followed up with the principal, Ms. Roberts and Ms. Williams, to see what's going on, what are the needs for school. And I know Councilmember Kevin Riley is expected to do a walkthrough in the school. But like Councilmember Dinwitz said, we need all electeds and all levels of government to be on top of this. We're talking about young folks who need the support and who need the resources to be successful and to exceed, especially academically, and learn in a whole new language. I remember when I was growing up here in New York, ENL is very, very important resource. And if schools are facing some, cuts in funding, that's definitely an issue that we need to speak about, especially in meetings or in Community Board 12 and across the borough as well. So I hope, with your leadership and guidance, you guys follow up with electeds as well, and also reach out to the schools. I think that'll be great, to hear directly from the teachers and the need of the principals to maintain, these resources or essential resources for students. Aside from that, I think I know I sent you an email a while back, George, with regards to the street light, traffic light on East 217. DOT, I think, haven't come out, or if they have, if you could update me on that, because people keep driving like crazy here, because they are just ignoring that stop sign. So I think a traffic light will definitely make some changes in the community. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll follow up with you tomorrow, Ayad. Ayad is a new constituent, so we're very happy about that.
Thank you for joining, Ayad.
Yeah, and the chair and I attended a borough board meeting last Thursday where we actually got a contact with the person who's in charge of the ENL for the Department of Education. So now I actually have a point of contact. I will reach out to her because one of my concerns there was that, we're moving heaven and earth for the migrant families, and, as we should, but we should extend those services to all New Yorkers. So,
Absolutely.
your point on that's affecting your brother, they put English, they put these teachers in PS 16, they should be able to do it in PS 78. So,
I just text
we'll
Diane.
follow up there.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
we
just
fully agree that.
just an FYI, it's not just for my brother. There's many other
Absolutely. No,
families.
I'm just saying I always make these things personal because, we're native New Yorkers. Some of us are, some of us aren't, but we're all New Yorkers. We're all here. And I think it's better when you make it, where you can personally connect and, have examples. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't just help your brother. It helps everybody. But again, we shouldn't be moving heaven and earth just for the migrant families. We need to do the right thing for all New Yorkers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have to take care of home as well. I saw there was another, thank you for that. I saw there was another hand up. Letitia Stewart. Are you still with us?
Hello, I am. Good evening,
Hi.
everyone. So yes, I just wanted to make a little announcement and actually just contribute a little bit to the conversation. So I'm the executive director at I Raise Girls and Boys International Corporation, and we actually provide mental health services within the school. And just talking about these asylum seekers and the families that are being moved into our city, just thinking about how the children and how that move and that transition is actually impacting them, in terms of their emotional well-being and their mental well-being. So just wanted to bring some awareness around that as well, in addition to just a general youth mental health crisis. And so our organization, we have an integrative mental wellness model that we are implementing in some partner schools throughout New York City. And we would love to be able to expand that model because we feel it's very important for schools to become more mental health informed and trauma informed and know how to work with young people and with families that have been experiencing traumatic situations, kind of transitioning from being, more punitive and really finding ways to help young people and to help families. So, I would love to share more about our wellness model and just making sure that everyone within the school building, whether it's from the students to the parents to the teachers, have a real understanding of, what a mental health issue looks like and what to do if a family member or a friend or even themselves are experiencing some type of, mental health challenge. So I will definitely put my information in the chat, whether it's, PS38 or any other school that's in the area, the district that could potentially use such supports. We would love to be able to connect with those schools and provide that support. So I'll just put my information in the chat, and
Thank
anyone
you.
feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, and you should connect with Miss Talene Dickerson,
I
who
will do that. Yes.
chairs our Committee on Education, Youth and Education. Thank you.
Wonderful. I will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then next we have Jeffrey One.
Can you hear me?
Oh, hi.
It's Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz. My
Assemblyman,
screen thing
welcome.
says Jeffrey 1. And thanks to the wonders of WebEx, my camera doesn't work. Never had a
Again?
problem with Zoom, just saying. Zoom is
Again?
every single time. But thank you so much. I'll just take a couple of minutes. I know you got a lot of people and a lot of business to take care of. So I just wanted to say a few things. One is, in the past week or two, I visited 3 of the schools that are in my district that are in Board 12, and they are PS 16, PS 483, known as the Matilda Avenue School, and PS 19 in Woodlawn. And I have to say, I was impressed in all three schools. Each of the schools have their own struggles to deal with, their own difficulties. Schools had influx of some of the asylum seekers, but all three schools, they're really getting their act together. And it was really amazing just going around, looking at the classroom, seeing the kids and everything. And I would say, at least in those schools, and hopefully all of our schools, were in good hands. Um, I also wanted to mention a little thing, but an important thing to the people on the block. Our office had been contacted regarding a van, or a truck actually, that was parked for months and months on, I guess it was 240th Street, just past East of Matilda Avenue. And each time, I guess sanitation came by, they tag it, or the police do whatever they're going to do, and nothing happened. We finally got it removed, and I know we have a lot of issues with the big tractor trailer trucks in the area, particularly on the Nereid Avenue Bridge, and it's an issue. We saw finally sanitation was out there a few days ago, giving out tickets. What I think we have to do is significantly increase those fines, because the fines aren't large enough such that it's a cost of doing business for a lot of them. And it's all over the area. It's not just on Nereid Avenue or in Wakefield. It's everywhere. The other thing I wanted to mention is, and maybe it was mentioned earlier, but voting starts this Saturday. We have early voting for 9 days starting Saturday. The times vary from day to day, and it's not necessarily at your usual polling place. Plus, Election Day, which is Tuesday, November 8th, which is at your regular polling place. So I hope that everybody who is eligible will participate in the election. It's really very important that we have a large turnout from the Bronx. I mean, I have my own opinions as to who you should vote for. I'll keep them to myself. But the important thing is, by the way, I'm on the ballot. But the important thing is that people come out to vote. Our community strength is directly connected to our voting strength. So please come to the polls. And an important thing with respect to the election are not only the candidates, but when you vote, you turn over your ballot, and there are 4 ballot proposals. One is the Environmental Bond Act, which will, if passed, will bring over $4 billion into the state to deal with various issues concerning climate change, and including issues in the Bronx. And then the other 3 proposals are changes to the city charter put forth by a commission dealing with racial justice. So I would strongly urge everybody to not only read it when you get into the to vote, but in advance go on a website to look at the wording, the actual wording, because the wording of these proposals are not on the ballot. They just give you a small capsule summary, but you should read it and then figure out how you're going to vote on each of these things, because they're really important issues. So that's it. I thank you so much for your time, and I know we have a new chair. Congratulations. And
Councilman Zinowitz.
and I hope to see you at the next meeting, and I hope for you to see me at the next meeting.
We would love to see your face at the next meeting.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Next up, we have Stephanie Rojas.
Everyone, I'm not turning off my camera. A lot going on in my but I just want, so I'm Stephanie Rojas. I'm the manager from the Eastchester Branch Library. And I just wanted to contribute to the conversation regarding PS78 or any other school that doesn't have after school programs. The Eastchester Library has an after school program. It's Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. So you're more than welcome to bring your child in. We have tutors on site that can help your child with any homework or any other enrichment activities that they can do. Everything is free of charge. You can drop in as often as you want. It's Monday to Thursday from 3 to 6. So everyone is more than welcome to bring their child to that program. And that's the way that we're trying to fill in the gaps, as we understand that there's a lot of fundings that are being cut for the schools. So as I said, there's no registration for it. You can just come with your child and we'll provide them the help.
Thank you, Stephanie. If you could just put the information in the chat, that would be great.
Will do. Thank you.
I don't see any other hands up. So that concludes our public gallery session. We are not going to move on. Ms. Benitez, did you have a comment?
No, just saying,
Okay.
confirming that we do have a quorum.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, the elected officials, representatives report. Anyone? Anyone from Council Member Riley's office?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Hi.
Hey, good evening. So hi
Evening.
everyone, my name is Cynthia. I'm from Councilmember Kevin Riley's office. Just a quick regular routine. Our local office is at 940 East Gun Hill Road. Our phone number is 718-684-5509. Our phone number, I'm sorry, our email is district12, that's district12 at council.nyc.gov. We got a couple Halloween events coming up, actually 3 on the 29th. So in lieu of trying to give you all the details, I'm going to ask that you reach out to us on social media at CM Kevin C. Riley. I also wanted to note that we're having a flood barrier distribution on Friday, November 4th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at our Gun Hill Road office. RSVP is required, so we do ask that you RSVP at bit.ly/capital D12, capital B, lowercase ar, capital N, lowercase ov, 4. I will also put that link in the chat. Don't worry. I put it at the top of the meeting. I'll do it again. And I also just wanted to take a moment to address some of the concerns that happened during this meeting, if I would be able to have that moment.
Yes, of course.
All right, so regarding the trucks, that one is definitely a citywide initiative, citywide issue, and something that will require a citywide initiative. It was incorporated in the citywide statement of needs published by the Department of City Planning in the fiscal year 2023 and 2024, showing the urgency of the issue. There's actually a real limitation on where these trucks can be stored. And so without the access to land, there is nowhere to take them. So they're just getting ticketed. They throw away the ticket, they pay the ticket until there's infrastructure, A, to either remove them, or B, for them to actually have somewhere where they can legally stop. This is something that we're going to have to navigate. I know that there's just been a real explosion in light of the fact that with the onset of 2-day delivery, that there are more trucks running. So there are more trucks on our streets. So that's something we're trying to navigate, and it is something that we're looking for solutions for. I know we've talked with Community Board 12 and George Torres, particularly in terms of trying to find somewhere for these trucks to go, to give them a real outlet, to give them infrastructure to work with so they're not putting their refuse on our streets. And then in regards to the flooding, so we actually signed on to, it's called Introduction 0531-2022. It's a reporting bill asking for real reporting on our drainage infrastructure so we can get a real sense of the data and real sense of where these hotspots are, that these drainage issues are happening. Of course, we take all the 311 reports and constituent complaints that you give, and we've actually, in the past, over the summer, we had released a letter to the city calling for a stormwater study and resiliency plan. That's something we're going to continue to push. And then just a couple more things I wanted to highlight. iRaise is one of the initiatives that we were able to fund in the city council budget. So thank you for being here, iRaise. I know you guys do a lot of work in the schools. And then I also wanted to address IOD. I know we had talked over the phone the past couple of days, and that is something that we would love to have that walkthrough and look to see, trying to match programming, see what we can do in terms of the budget. Unfortunately, I do know that there were some things going on in the citywide budget that had impacts for our community. Our goal is to always do better and to fill the gaps where we can in terms of discretionary funding that the member gets, and really anything that we can do, calling on our state partners, calling on our federal partners to make sure that the community stays whole. I think I addressed everything.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. We truly appreciate you replying to some of the
Yeah, no
earlier
problem.
concerns. Ms. Vernice, did you get to complete your thoughts earlier? Are we good with you?
Hi. Like I said, this is my first time coming to your meeting, so I didn't know what to expect in terms of how much I could say. I mean, how many people could really assist me in some issues that I'm having here. And so I had one more issue that I'm having, but I can't just say it's me. I'm sure it's most landlords are having issues with evicting tenants that even though the court says that they have a particular day to move, the courts are giving them extended time to stay in our homes while they are destroying our homes and not paying their fair share or not paying, period. And that is very unfair because we have to pay our mortgage. I don't know who I could speak to find out more about how this process really go, but it's frustrated to know that the court give a date for a tenant to leave, then they have the right to go back to get extended time after you prove that they're destroying your apartment, even though you prove that they're not paying at all. We have to pay our mortgage. I mean, when does the bleeding stop when it comes to landlords? I mean, it seems like they have all the rights and we don't have any rights. They could do whatever they want, and Section 8 have the nerves to even give them transfer to move to another apartment, knowing that they haven't paid the landlord. And it's not Section 8 business whether they destroy our property or not. But it's a really unfair situation going on with the landlords. Throughout the pandemic, a lot of people haven't gotten paid, and we can't get these tenants out.
Right. You echo a lot of sentiments that a lot of our board members and other community residents have. George, is there anything we can do in this situation? Like, where would these complaints go?
The city does. I know that they were when they had the moratorium. Again, I'm not knowledgeable now about the eviction moratorium that was in place. I'm not sure if it was lifted or not, but I do know that the city did offer landlords assistance. You could call 311 again, or you can. I'll find out tomorrow morning. They were really pumping this information out there, so there was a lot of stuff out there again for landlords who were faced in your situation. So yeah, we can follow up offline.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Ms. Vernice.
We have
one more.
Angela. Yeah, we have from
Angela,
Senator.
yes. Thank you. Angela?
Hi, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll be quick. I just wanted to let you all know about um, an upcoming date that we are having our annual Food and Health Empowerment Fair on. That's going to be on Saturday, November 19th. So that is a big annual event that we have for the holiday in November, where we distribute turkeys and fresh produce and some helpful resources for folks who might need some help, about programs that the state and the city provide. So that's Saturday, November 19th at Huntington Free Library. We're still working on the specific time, but it should be in the afternoon. So for anyone who is interested, just kind of mark that down, and I can follow up with George and Ursula with the flyer, and we'll amplify the event flyer on our social media accounts as well to get the word out about that. But I think that will be before next month's community board meeting. And other than that, if anyone needs anything, please feel free to reach out to us, to our office. I'll read the number out loud that you can reach us at. That's 718-822-2049. And by email, you can reach us at constituentservices@senatorbiaggi.com. And I'll also put that phone number and that email in the chat. But if anyone has any questions, I won't take up more time, but if anyone, I'll be on for the remainder of the meeting. If anyone would like to private message me with specific questions, feel free. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Any other elected official representatives that would like the floor? Going once, going twice.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I promise I won't keep you too long. My name is Carlos M. Torres. I'm the crime prevention coordinator at the Bronx District Attorney's Office. I put my contact information in the chat box. I just wanted to say thank you very much to CB12 for sharing our 5th annual 5K run, walk, row against domestic violence. We had over 400 people participate in this wonderful event, and it couldn't be done without your help. So once again, thank you very much. This is Carlos Torres, Information is in the chat box. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns in regards to safety or any issues going on in the community, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Alexis?
Hi, Beatrice. Hi, George. Good evening, Community Board 12. I'm happy to be here with you all. The latest Borough President's newsletter was sent via email. If you haven't received it, please let me know in the chat and I will correct that issue. Recently, we just had the Tour de Bronx and we had our fellow Community Board 12 member, Alfredo Figueroa, there. You did awesome. You represented Community Board 12 and I hope to see a lot of you next year. With that being said, we have a upcoming event in Community Board 12 with Kevin Riley's office. It's a trunk or treat, and it'll be at the Northeast Y tomorrow, Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So please come out with the kids, and there is also a Halloween parade Saturday at 12 p.m. in Co-op City, Section 1 Greenway. I'm gonna also enter all of this in the chat. So you can have that information. And I will be here for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexis. Harmony?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to share some updates about an event that we're having. We're partnering with Bragg to host a haunted house tomorrow at 825 East 233rd Street. And that's going to be from 5 to 8 p.m. And we do invite you to come and bring anyone who might be interested to pick up some treats and have a good time. In addition, we will be announcing a number of Thanksgiving turkey giveaways in the upcoming weeks. So please subscribe to our email newsletter. The link is in the chat, or follow us on social media for those updates. And if there's any issues or if you need any assistance from our office, please contact us. Our information is also in the chat. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And that was Harmony with Senator Bailey's office. Thank you. Okay. Let me see who else. Any other hands? I think that's it. I don't really have a report. I just really want to urge everyone the importance for our board members of participating, whether it's virtually or in person, to be present. Also mentioning committees. I have been connecting with the chairs of committees, and a lot of our board members who have signed up to be on different committees haven't been joining, and it's really important. I will be connecting with the new board members to figure out your interests to assign you to different committees. We have been talking about the need to condense our committees so that we're meeting more effectively. So we will be connecting on that in the near future. George?
Hey, so I was debating whether I should read my report or just, it's a very short report, so I'll just actually read it. Good evening, board members, and happy Thursday. I'd like to address some housekeeping issues first. As you may have noticed, we are back to being all virtual. There was some confusion. Apparently our September meeting, we could have been virtual, but again, there was some confusion, so I do apologize about that. Mayor Eric Adams extended the emergency order for another 30 days, allowing us to remain virtual. This is significant because next month's meeting will be held on November 17th at 7 p.m. So we are moving the meeting up 1 week because of the Thanksgiving holiday. That meeting will be held virtually because it falls before the current 30-day extension of Adams' order on virtual meetings. Looking forward or planning forward to December, Ursula and I have been having a conversation, so we've been calling some board members, but we'd like to announce that we will try and host a holiday gathering for our December meeting, which would fall on Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. If I recall, the first year of the pandemic, we went with a virtual ugly sweater contest that was not very well attended. I think I won. And last year we did not have anything. So, I think we're all I'm certainly in the mood to see some faces. I was happy that we were in person on Saturday. It was really good to see. I'm sorry, on Saturday. We were in person in September. It was really good to see a lot of your faces. And this, this gathering is not just for board members. It's for everybody. Where am I? Oh, for the sake of planning purposes, Ursula will be reaching out to board members to follow up and get a head count so we know how much food to order. And as we have always done, this year's gathering will be a potluck. We want board members to make their favorite dishes to bring to the party. And if you're not inclined to cook, we will also take donations to help defray the cost of the event. Housekeeping aside, and to what the chair was just talking about, November is going to be a very busy month as we have some very important housing initiatives heading to committee. We have the Wakefield Village development coming to our land use committee on November 10th at 7 p.m. I think we're looking to hold this meeting jointly with the housing committee. There are several requests for letters of support for the housing committee to be voted on. We have folks tonight here from the Jewish board about a project. We have folks from Well Life also looking for a letter of support. Our transportation committee will be busy with several one-way conversion requests to deal with. Additionally, the board was recently notified about DOT's rollout of the car share program. There's an article in today's Bronx Times about that particular program. Community boards 9 and 12 have a significant number of parking spaces that are being taken. We have 66, and I believe Community Board 9 may have several more or slightly less. I forget the number. It's a really good read. You should read the article. But we have that. DOT is also in the last meetings of the Gun Hill Road bus plan that extends not just in our district, but it runs from our district to Community Board 7, going to Gun Hill Road on the other side towards Montefiore. So I encourage every board member to attend these committee meetings because that's really the venue for debate and discussion about the merits of each of these initiatives. And that's, obviously where we're going to take a vote. And in conclusion, today marks my 2,643rd day as your district manager, or 7 years, 2 months, and 25th day of my tenure here. I'm grateful for each and every day at the board. Thank you for your patience, and good night.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George, for everything, keeping us informed. We're looking forward to this holiday celebration. Okay, so now, wait, do we have any
Wait, excuse me.
other hands?
The guy about the clock, and he never responded to us yet.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the next item, approval of board minutes.
Yeah, wait. Before
Hold on. Okay, sorry, Ms. Riley, I just had to mute you. Approval of board minutes. George, so what do we do here?
I was actually just texting Urs. Did we send out board minutes? We may have not gotten them in time.
No.
No? All right.
Okay.
So yeah, we will.
No. I sent them out. I sent them
Okay,
out.
my bad. I'm sorry.
They were sent out.
Okay.
We heard
So
you,
yeah, we
Urs.
could.
We heard you.
You know, because I would be really offended here because I slaved over those. So you have several pages and it's
Ms.
posted.
Broomfield did. She did.
And you
Great
did a
job.
great job.
Great job.
Great job.
Great job. We appreciate you.
All right. So yeah, you can take a vote.
Okay. John, you have your hand up?
I was actually going to clap for her because, she
Clap out
volunteered.
loud. She really did.
Yeah. That's my girl.
Shining.
I gotta clap.
Shining.
Yep.
Yeah. She put her chest into it. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to take a vote on the approval of the minutes.
Take a motion to move.
Oh.
Someone
I didn't hear you.
Judith said somebody has to make a motion, and then you vote on the motion.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the minutes with any necessary changes, if there's any.
Any debate?
Second.
You got that, John? Judith?
Yeah, we're indicating the date of the minutes for September.
Yeah, for September's meeting.
Yeah, okay. And you have a second on that, please?
Yeah, second.
Yeah, it was Keisha.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. I'm getting ready to do the call. Judith Benitez, aye. Egeria Bennett, excuse. Denise Bond. Board members, would you please make sure you're unmuted so that I can hear you when you cast your vote? Denise Bond,
We can't hear you, Denise. I can see her mouth moving, but Denise,
is the thumbs up or thumbs down?
let's come back to her. I don't know if we lost her for a minute. Denise, we're trying to get you.
Okay.
I'll text her real quick.
Okay, I'm going on. Ivan Boraz,
Abstain.
Carla Basadi,
Aye.
Michelle Brumfield,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
thank you. Victor Brown,
Aye.
Deacon Brown, Norbert Bryan,
I see it's on my video.
Desiree Campbell.
You hear me? Can you hear
Denise
me?
Bond is back.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
That's Denise?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
if it's Denise,
I don't
yes.
know what happened to the thing, but
Hello? Hello? Can
Denise,
anyone
we can
see
hear
me?
you.
Hello?
We can hear
Hello?
you, Miss Bond.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Are you saying Denise or
Can
Desiree?
you hear me?
I said, I was going back to Denise, Desiree.
Okay.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you can hear me.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
okay.
I couldn't hear you for a second there. Sorry, my computer died, so I had to sign on through my phone.
Okay,
And we're voting on the minutes, correct?
right.
Yes. So, yes, aye.
Okay, thank you. Desiree Campbell,
Aye.
Sadie Campbell,
Aye.
Joan Claude is excused. Chris Devone,
Yes, hi.
am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, it's Devon. I'm Phyllis. This is actually my first meeting, so
Okay.
I'm still trying to pay attention and stick along.
Oh, okay.
You're
Welcome,
with us.
I'm trying to.
Tolene Dickinson,
Good evening. Aye.
Kevin Eichelberger,
Aye.
thanks, Kevin. Alfredo Figueroa,
Aye.
Johnny Goff,
Aye.
Robert Hall, Lisa Hayes, John Isaac,
Aye.
Theodore James,
Aye.
Keisha Martin,
Aye.
Lucille Martin,
Aye.
Shanika Moore,
Aye.
Clinton Mike,
Aye.
Carmen Ortiz, is Carmen still with us? Do we see Carmen?
She was on earlier.
She's still here.
She was here.
Carmen, unmute your mic, Carmen.
Didn't go, yeah, I wasn't there in that meeting, so I'm abstaining.
Thank you, dear. Queenie, excuse me, Queenie Panagua.
I, Queenie Paniagua, abstain. I didn't get the minutes.
Okay. Thanks for pronunciation. Sherry Samuels,
Aye.
Anthony Reed, Harry Singh,
Aye.
Paul Stricker, is Carl still with us?
Carl is here.
Sorry, abstain.
Thank
I
you.
was not at the meeting.
Yes, I know. Benga Savera,
Aye.
Usabados,
Aye.
Deborah Walker,
I abstain.
Ryan Walters, Ryan Walters, Deborah Torado, Esther Yama,
Abstain. I was not at the meeting.
Beatrice Coronel.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move on to financial report.
Hi, family. Good to see everybody well and safe.
Hi.
Again, I'd like to welcome our new board members and say that I put my information in the chat. Please feel free to call me at any time or email me. We are currently at $2,625 wonderful dollars. If there's any other questions you have for me, please contact me. And that's all from the Sunshine Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Old business. I don't believe we have any old business at the moment.
I thought we had some votes. We have the Pratt Avenue retaining wall and stuff like that.
You have my votes. Economic development.
And economic development, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Okay. The committee met last Thursday on the 20th, and the group that came before us was Mama G's, the restaurant for a renewal, and with this particular restaurant, the report that we had gotten from 4-7 was they had a very good report, no incidents at all at this particular restaurant. And we would like to present this restaurant for a recommendation for renewal of their license.
Is that all you have?
That's the only one we have. That's the only one we have. And it is one condition with that also, that when we can approve their renewal, but we want to make sure that they look to see that they get a letter of no objections, or they have repairs done to their building. But other than that, there's no other problems with this establishment.
Being that you only had one, I make a motion that we accept the report of the Economic Development Committee.
I second the motion.
Quick question. Are we able to do it by maybe unanimous consent versus a roll call vote?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, we can.
I would like to make a motion to approve this by unanimous consent.
Okay, now, let me just ask this question, just to make sure that even though we're saying unanimous consent, do I have anyone who's objecting, or do I have anyone who's recusing themselves in association with this restaurant?
I recuse.
Recuse, in other words, you have business with the company, or
No, just
I just want-
just abstention.
who's this?
Ivan Boris.
And I know Victor Brown, right?
This is just to accept the report, is it not?
Okay, all right.
Yes, it's only to accept the report, not to vote on approving it. Just to accept the report.
Absolutely.
Okay, so everyone is in affirmative.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, going on to the recommendation to approve their license renewal. That's where the question comes in. Does anyone have any reason to recuse themselves from this voting? Does anyone want to be in the negative in reference to this voting besides the unanimous?
I vote in negative, Victor Brown.
Yes. And Ivan, is the same thing with you?
Yes, abstention is
You say you're abstaining, Ivan.
yes.
Okay, hold on.
Ms. Benitez.
Oh my God. Look who's here.
Yes, it's Robert Hall. I'm not abstaining. I'm here. I'm with you.
Yeah, you need to, because I just put you as not present. Hold on for a minute. Are you part of the first vote for the report?
No, just this.
Okay, for the second, the third, okay. Hold on for a minute, Robert. And you say aye for that too?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, so Ivan and Victor, one is no and one is abstaining. Am I correct? And everybody else is in the affirmative?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much. That's it for me. That's it for me, Beatrice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we're moving on to the next new business.
We have the land use committee report or recommendation.
Okay.
I just want to say something. Since I was not at the land use committee, my co-chair ran the meeting, Harry Sang. So I let him take control of what happened at the meeting. Harry, you can make the report.
Hi, good evening. So as is indicated in the minutes of the land use meeting, we were approached with an application for the rezoning, inspection, reconstruction, and maintenance of a retaining wall for Pratt Avenue. The land use committee met on October 5th and voted unanimously to pass a motion approving this application and forwarding it to the general board for its consideration and approval. So
Somebody make the motion to accept.
Second.
A quick question. Would we also be able to, since this is a unanimous and potentially not very controversial vote, could we do this by unanimous consent as well?
Yeah, we
I
can.
don't know who's asking the question, but you don't have to ask it every time. The person chairing the meeting says, can we get a unanimous vote? You don't have to ask if we can do it. It's up to the chair. So it's up to you, Beatrice, if you want to ask for it.
Yes. So at this point, we can take a unanimous vote.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to move on to new business. So
Well,
the
we
first,
accepted the committee recommendation. Now, if we have to write a letter on this, we have to approve the writing of the letter.
And I think to Carl's point, since this is a ULURP, I think we have to do a roll call because I have to know how many people support it and how many people are here, and if there's any abstentions. So, I mean, I guess you can do unanimous consent, but if there's any objections or abstentions, just please let us know.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. As George said, let me just ask this question. Is there anyone saying no to the letter of support? Is anyone recusing themselves?
I'm sorry, Judith, just a point of clarification. There's not a letter of support, there's a ULURP application.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me put that as a ULURP. Okay. Any objections to this? No recusals? Am I casting a vote for the board in the affirmative?
It's unanimous.
Unanimous, everyone? Say aye. I need to hear it.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Aye.
Okay, it's
You sound like a chorus practicing.
Isn't that funny? I haven't had that many voices in such a long time. Okay.
oh, joy, love it. Thank you all. And you know what? And I'm just very transparent. This is new to me, so I'm still learning as we go. So thank you all for those who are teaching me as we go. I truly appreciate it.
Well, I'm the parliamentarian. I won't let you stray too far.
Please don't. Please don't. Okay. Moving on to new business. So the first item, which is something that Luke Sábados brought up, request to turn an unfinished section of Burke Avenue into Parkland. Luke, do you want to give a quick recap?
Sure. So this is something that I've kind of found by looking at the map in our district. I found in other parts of the Bronx, there are a lot of areas that used to be street land, but have over time been taken over illegally by the neighboring properties with fences to restrict access for various reasons. Often it's just neglect. A lot of times this kind of thing happens when a street terminates into a waterfront. People neighboring will take over that street and pretend like it's their backyard. I found this section of Burke Avenue, which terminates into the 5 train, and it created a dead end, and it's been neglected for a really long time, so long that trees have actually grown, and it's kind of a thriving ecosystem. We've got trees, obviously birds, biodiversity here. And when I saw this, I was like really amazed because Community Board 12 ranks as some of the lowest amount of parkland. We've got, of the 59 community boards, we are number 9, 8, 57, 56 in terms of access to parks. So, I know the district, it's a lot of streets, it's a lot of built environment and not so much parkland compared to everywhere else in the city. So the idea is that this is already a thriving ecosystem. There's some abandoned cars, somebody's abandoned yacht on this area of former street land. The idea is to make it kind of official. This could connect people who live on a couple of these streets to better access Hafen Park. So the idea is to make it legitimate, put a path there, a walking path, maybe some nice trees, and to make it an official parkland to allow our community another place to recreate and enjoy.
You know, you're going to have to run through a ULERT procedure for this because you're going to have to demap that street before you can make it parkland.
That's right.
Thank you, Luke. So this is something that George and I were talking about. Yeah, John, go ahead.
Don't we also have to get like the Parks Department permission to take it over as a park also? Because I remember there was a park that was developed right off of I think it's 222nd Street. It was like kind of like a funny park, like going down, and then it stayed there. It was fixed up and developed really nice, and it stayed there. And sanitation said we're not taking care of it, and then parks were like we're not taking care of it, and then the community board I think had to get them to like come together, and one of them had to decide that they're gonna take care of it. So we need, I guess, straightforward. We need to let or get permission from one of them if it's going to be developed to take care of it. I don't know if George remembers this, but
the Step Street, 222nd.
So
yeah, John.
Yes.
We have to go to the Borough Commissioner of Parks to see if they're willing to take over the strip of Burke Avenue that we're going to demap as a park. It should probably make a decision, yes or no. And you know, this adds more work.
It was a big issue. I remember it was a big issue. So just
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
There are steps we would have to take, but this is more a conversation as a board. Is this something that we have an interest in collectively?
I think we should look at it, definitely.
Okay.
Is it going to be, look, do you expect it to be a passive or active park? Like, is this space for like a basketball court or anything like that? Or
I mean, I think Luke is right? We are under-resourced in that way. And we talk a lot about, you know, our community and even play spaces for our kids. And so there is a need. And so the idea here was for us to have a conversation first. If this is something that we want to move ahead as a board, then we will figure out what those next steps are and who are the key players that we need to bring into play.
All right, great.
So everyone agrees this is something that we need.
I think
correct?
we should look into it. Yeah.
Okay.
If I might add my 2 cents, I think that it's a good yes, I think it's a good idea. I don't think that it's going to be a large enough space to have like a basketball court. And Luke, maybe you can just give us some idea about what you envision seeing there in this space.
So I can share my screen also so that we can see what we're talking about. Just a second. Okay, can everybody see my my screen right now? Great. Let me just try to move this. Okay. Okay, so this is Hafen Park. This is Gunther Avenue. This is Burke Avenue. So we're talking about this is an 80-foot wide street, and it stretches 2 blocks. So it's a couple 100 feet long. You can see here's a satellite view. This is has a lot of nature already. And the idea is that, you know, if you live over here and you want to get to the park, you have to go all the way down and around several blocks to go around. Or even if you live over here, the idea is that this could become kind of have a nice walking path. At least my idea right now is so that you can access this and, kids could ride their bike in a safe way to get to the park, and just provides people areas to enjoy. Right now, I'll show you a street view shot. This is what it looks like in the wintertime. There's some trees here. They're not really intentional trees. They're just kind of been growing there for the last several years. And here's what it's like in the more of summerish time. So these are things that are supporting a variety of biodiversity, but it's just kind of precarious and out of neglect. This has been growing. So it's really close to the park, as you can see, and it would just be a great addition. I don't think Community Board 12 has any open streets like they do in other parts of the city, so this could be a great place for kids to play, throw a baseball around, or do some kind of informal sports. But if we want to talk about whether to allocate, a basketball court, I mean, that's something great, but we would have to have bigger conversations.
But my question was, I don't think that the area, if I remember what it looks like, I don't know if it would support something. I could see it being a green space for people to have some benches in, a path, that type of thing. But I don't know if we could actually put like any type of courts in there. I think it'd see it more as just a green space for the community.
Yeah,
Could it
and
have a
that would be
play
an improvement.
I agree.
Play area for the kids?
Don't the homeowners on either side of that property have some say-so? What if they don't want a park or a public court or whatever? Because I'm looking at the picture and I know where this is. It's not really far from where I live. You have private homes on either side of that spot.
It's wide enough that you could put.
Well, that is a good point. But right now, the current condition isn't so desirable. Here's a shot on Timan Ave, and it's got this abandoned yacht in there. When I was over here a couple months ago, I saw somebody who appeared to be homeless had a barrel set on fire and was burning trash. So I think while people's input is obviously valuable and we need to have these conversations, it's also valuable in envisioning what we want and if we want something different. And I think abandoned boats and burning trash is not something that is improving the quality of life.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I just think that we can do something useful with it, but not something that would entail having folks or people or, teens or whatever come to it, creating noise and whatever. So it's a matter of what we could do with it that's useful. Even so, like you said, like a small park where maybe you have a couple of benches. I love my step street.
That's what we can discuss after we approve this idea. If we approve it, then we'll start dealing with the agencies involved.
Okay, but at this point, we do agree that we do want to do something with the space. At this point is bringing in the players that need to be involved, and then we start talking about what are the ideas of what we would like to see there.
Well, that's correct.
Community input.
I'm trying to understand the difference in doing something with the space versus discussing the space prior, right? So I think the Parks Committee, I think they should, come up with a plan or come up with something that, a proposal, as opposed to us, just, throwing out ideas, and then we vote on those ideas based on those proposals.
Well, before we do that, we should find out if Parks is willing to take it over. And it goes through ULERT because we're mapping the street.
Agree.
So Luke, I
find out
just
who
wanted
owns
to,
it?
I wanted to make sure, Luke. So obviously we had the homeowners on Tiemann Avenue who just created this Tiemann Avenue sort of block association. Um, as you noted on where the yacht was, that other side of Burke Avenue is the property in question, 3220 Tiemann Avenue. This also extends up to Kingsland Avenue, and it dead ends right there on Kingsland. Are you proposing all three blocks, Gunther, Tiemann, and Kingsland, or just Gunther to Tiemann?
I think I'd be proposing to go from Gunther to Kingsland. So that's two stretches, but it crosses three streets.
Yeah. So the only question, and I have to check with the buildings department, 3220 Tiemann is still very early. I don't know if they filed in all three on a BPP for the property, or if they're going to be exempted because they're facing an unfinished street. So we need to have that conversation as well.
Okay, one quick question. Do they have any frontage on Burke Avenue?
The Tiemann property, no, because there's homes on that other side, I believe. There's homes on the
Okay, well, if they
Gunther
don't,
side, yeah.
okay, but they don't have any frontage on the, this kind of former Burke Avenue.
No.
Sorry, you're unmuted. Or sorry, you're muted.
I'm sorry. They do. You're right. That's the side street for the Tiemann. So, if they file the BPP, but again, they might be able to waive the BPP because they're facing an unfinished street. The only other interesting thing you mentioned it between Gunther and Tiemann looks like it has a sidewalk on the home side, but it looks like somebody fenced it off. Because there should be a walkway. So if you do the Google street maps on Gunther, you'll see that there's a sidewalk next to those two private homes. Yeah, right here you see that sidewalk. There's a sidewalk right there, exactly. So somebody built the sidewalk and they didn't extend it to the street, but why is it fenced off? So that's curious.
Is this property private or does it belong to the city?
This is a street that belongs to the city. It's an unfinished street. It's Burke Avenue.
Okay, because see, I had a similar situation, but my street was given to me because it was landlocked.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I was asking whether it was private or not. And then over the years, I simply attached part of it because I sold the rest of it to the Beechwood houses. I attached the rest of it to my own land. Okay, sorry. Just curiosity.
It's all right, Tony.
I like the idea because I know where it is. I've always wondered what was behind that fencing.
It is a good idea, though. But
it is. I like the idea, Luke. Thanks.
I'm just saying that with the park right across the street, are they going to consider another park right there? Because they have a huge park right across the street.
No, I don't think too many parks is a bad thing.
No, I don't either. But I'm just thinking. I'm thinking city. I'm thinking New York City. That's all.
No, I think what John mentioned, and again, to I forget who said this. It might have been Ivan. This is stuff that we'll take to the Parks Committee and to the homeowners and say, hey, what do you want to see? I think John raised the issue of, do you want a passive park or do you want an active park? I think a passive park would be better here because it's really just landscaping. Because to Luke's point, this is the street. I don't know that you need to build asphalt or anything. You may want to put some soft surfaces, but you just need to landscape it, really make it look nicer and remove the fences so that it's like Luke said, an open street. And unlike the 222nd Street, which is actually it has cement and it has greenery. The argument on the 222nd Street was who's going to continue to maintain it. It is the Parks Department's responsibility because it is a green street. Any street that has greenery on it is required to be maintained by the Parks Department. So I think we give this to committee and we have a conversation about what we want to see as a community board there, and we also speak to the homeowners that are there, especially the newly formed Tiemann Avenue Block Association or Homeowners Association.
I like it though.
I do too. I like the trees. Those are some good trees.
We could beautify it. And so we move this to committees and we continue the conversation there with Ms. Denise Bond. Thank you all for your participation and enthusiasm. Luke, thank you so much. We appreciate it as well.
The neighbors probably won't be happy about it because it's going to take up their parking that I see they have right there. It's going to take.
Why would it take the parking?
Look where they park. They park right in front of the fence.
The work be behind the fence?
Well, they're angle park, Clinton, so that's illegal anyway.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying that they're going to be unhappy about it, but okay.
We could work with them.
But the only thing is that
maybe
this is such a long process that, you know, there's no guarantees. You know, we could find some kind of agreement that makes everybody happy. I think the underpinning is that we can make this a passive space that people can walk through. People can enjoy and look up at the trees and see the birds and stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to take away the parking.
I'm fine with it. I loved it.
Okay.
Right, cool.
Moving on to the next item, and I've already mentioned this, so I won't spend too much time on it. We are figuring out ways of reducing the amounts of committees and condensing them. So we will be talking more about that in the near future. And so we will move on to the next item, good and welfare. Anything else? Oh, I think there was another hand up. Oh no, we don't have any more hands up. John, did you say something? You were on mute. John, did you say something? You're on mute.
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. Anything else before we conclude? It was great seeing you all. Remember that next. Oh, Alfredo?
What's going on?
Alfredo?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good to see you guys. To piggyback on what the young lady was, her concern regarding the not knowing the definition or the behind of the and you know, the as of right development. This is something that I keep saying that even though a property or development is as of right, they still should come to the community board for the same reason. I get her concern because I drive around a lot through the community and I see a lot of funky buildings being built that they should not be being built. And all this has to do with authority over these developments. Doesn't matter if that's right, they have to come to the community board. I know that the elected officials are not here no more. They should have stayed on the call. They're the ones that should put legislation or something with the Department of Buildings that in the required items, that there should be something in the required items that a new building came before a community board, whether it's as of right or it's not. I mean, you know, again, I get what that lady was saying. I mean, you know, she makes a lot of sense. A lot of these buildings that are being put up in our neighborhood, they really don't comply. I don't know who approved it in the building department, to be honest with you. You know
There's
what I
a
mean?
lot of them.
There's a
Within
lot.
my vicinity,
And
within
no
my
disrespect,
radius, there's a ton.
Disrespect to the plan examiners, but we don't have good plan examiners in the building department. We just don't. I've been dealing with the DOB for 29 years, and all the knowledgeable examiners have left. They have left. So you have examiners that are really not too knowledgeable of zoning and building code, and it's sad to say that. Very sad to say that. So again, the lady doesn't know that as of right means that you could build it as long as you comply with zoning, and you know, then they come to us like, oh, but you know, we don't understand what that means. We have to get the elected issues on board that we want any new building, whether it's a 1-story, 30-story, 100-story, has to come before a community board for approval. Point blank, whether it's active right or not. Otherwise, we're gonna get the same situation happening, all throughout, and then it's gonna be too late. But anyway, you guys have a good weekend. See ya soon.
Thank you, Alfredo. I hear everything you're saying. It's a concern for many of us. Miss Allen, you have your hand raised.
Hi, how are you? This is the first time I'm joining to in this community board just to listen in. So I thought it was very interesting, and I agree with the other member that just spoke. I had a lot of issues, and a lot of them were brought up as far as the trucks and things of that nature. I don't want to recap on all of those, but I just did want to speak upon what he just said, which I think is very important for the board to definitely be more involved in things that are taking place in the community, such as what he just said, and also with the schools, because my son goes to Leaders of Tomorrow, Future Leaders on off of, he just started going there off of Gun Hill, and now they want to implement another school inside of that school, and they already have 2 schools. So I think everybody needs to be aware of overcrowding as far as the buildings and the schools. And I just want to say that I think you guys are doing a great job as far as what I've heard on the call, and really putting forward a lot of thought into what you guys are doing so far, what I've heard.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. We truly appreciate it. We welcome you to continue to join our meetings. We have different committee meetings too, where we discuss these topics. And I don't want to keep taking up too much of everybody's time, but thank you everybody for your input. We will continue these conversations. And remember that we will be meeting the third Thursday in November. Okay, so we will continue the conversation next month. Thank you all. Have a great one. Night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Oh,
Good night, everyone.
oh, sorry. Good night.